Good evening. Welcome to our study tonight. A lot of in the news. Let me go over some of it with you. I'm sure you'll recognize this guy. He's been recognized at Mar-a-Lago for a long time. This is the president of Meta. Of course, it includes Facebook. And he was on an interview with Joe Rogan. Some of you probably have seen that. And he's coming clean. He is actually pushing the the Biden administration under the bus, saying that they forced them to censor people. And he was really pretty apologetic about it. And he's saying now more free speech and fewer mistakes. Biden administration forced them to censor conservatives, which he admitted. He said there's no more third-party fact-checking. He's fired everyone. And he says he's ending the DEI programs. Putting Dana White on his board. If you don't know who Dana White is, that's the CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC, who's an ardent Trump supporter. Well, people ask me, or they've been asking me, what do you think about this? I don't really trust Mark Zuckerberg for the simple reason that he's an opportunist and he's a businessman. His platforms grow out to 3 billion people. He doesn't want to alienate anyone, and actually, he's anyone's dog that'll hunt him. I'm not crazy about him. He took me off Facebook, not him, but Facebook took me off twice for that same thing that he's now apologizing for. So I don't know. His mea culpa doesn't really appeal to me. I think it's more of the fact that now that Trump's in the seat, he can put some pressure on him, and obviously he doesn't want that. Neither does Jeff Bezos. That's why they're all going down to see Trump. All right, let me go a little bit further, and I'm going to be pretty, since all the fact checkers are gone, not that it stopped me before, I'm going to be pretty bold. We'll see if they can throw me off or not. So this one is called, oh, let me get the right one here. I think I have the wrong one here. Hold on one second. Well, let's go down to this one. I call this one Liar in Chief. It's about crime. So I want to quote Joe Biden recently on crime. Quote, my administration was a success in every single area, unquote. Let me quote again. It is no accident that crime in the United States is near a 50-year low. Okay, so let's check the stats just out this week. Number one, 93% increase in shoplifting incidents this year alone. 93%. Two, Bakersfield, California, car theft capital of the world. And then you have Denver, Colorado, the second car theft capital of the world. 37% increase in 2024. Then Pueblo, Colorado, third, 47% increase in car thefts in 2024. Three, more than 14 million crimes, according to FBI, happened in 2024, more than ever. Four, there are 2 million people sitting in our prisons, leading the world in percentage. We, who are Americans, 5% of the world's population, we have 25% of the world's prisoners. Five, 33,000 violent gangs, according to the FBI, are operating inside the United States today, with about 1 million members. Six, gangs account for 80% of the violent crimes committed in the United States every year. Seven, in 2024, there were 130,000 rapes reported in the United States. Eight, more than 558,000 U.S. children were victims of abuse and neglect in 2024. And nine, if you can believe it, there are 795,000 registered sex offenders, a lot more than that in this country. 75,000 are in Texas alone, 65,615 in California. So President Biden, I am so glad that he's not going to be here running this country, which he wasn't anyway, in the next several days, because basically he's not a commander-in-chief, he's a liar-in-chief, and he's lied an awful lot. Let's go down to religion and tell you about this. According to the new statistics just out from Global Christian Persecution Index, 1 of every 8 Christians in the world today are being persecuted for their faith. Personally, I pray for my brothers and sisters in the world every single night. I pray for their persecutions to stop. There's an estimated 300 million every year worldwide that are killed Christians. The worst place for Christians being persecuted? You ready for this? Nigeria. 10,000 killed, 9,311 abducted and persecuted. And here's the problem. The safety of Christians in Nigeria eroded ever since the Biden administration removed Nigeria's designation as a country of particular concern. 5 more days, and that demonic anti-Christian administration will be out of the door. Thank God. And President Trump, has already vowed to put Nigeria back on the list of concerned countries. I hope he does so. Let's go a little bit further. Talk about a Congress. New Congress and Christianity. According to Pew Research, Christianity in the House and Senate isn't as rare as the liberal media and the left would have you to believe. Nearly every single Republican, 265 out of 270, identify as a believer. And believe it or not, a whopping 75% of men and women who are Democrats subscribe to the Christian faith. We'll talk about that in detail. The freshman class in Congress is not only a smaller Christian bunch. Of the 71 newcomers to Congress who aren't Christian, 66 are Democrats, 32 are Jewish, 4 are Muslim, 4 are Hindu, 3 are Unitarians, 3 are Buddhist, 1 identifies as a humanist, and 20 did not specifically specify a religion, while 3 are religiously unaffiliated. So how can Democrats who spare just one mention of God in their party platform be so religious on paper, but fail to translate those principles to their radical agendas? It's scripture. They honor God with their lips, but their heart is far from him. I'm excited that Republicans, the vast majority of them, are mostly Christian, and they're reflected in their platforms. And in 5 days, we will have all 3 branches of the government of the United States. That is a monumental thing, and I think it's a God thing. Let me go a little bit further with religion and give you this one. Just in case you have any doubts about the end of the Biden era, try this headline on for starters. When DEI meets the occult, your taxpayer-funded podcast promoting paganism. The outgoing Biden-Harris administration awarded a federal grant to a podcast that promoted the Church of Satan, a Cuban cult that practices animal sacrifices, astrology, and the LGBT school of witchcraft, and other Maggio-religious beliefs. The series also equates being filled with the Spirit with being demon-possessed, and warns that opposition to the occult can harm innocent Satanists. You can't make these things up. The National Endowment for the Humanities, NEH, awarded a $400,000 grant to the University of North Carolina at Charlotte to produce the Magic in the United States podcast, 6 episodes. What a great place for Elon Musk and Ramaswamy Doge project to start cut into government expenses. Let's go a little bit further here on our In the News, and let me give you a couple for the planet. I am really concerned about what's happening in California because I just did my the end of the year donation list, and I found out that there's a whole lot of you that listen to our program and that donate to Mark Correll Ministries, and we've been praying for you. And I've been having questions this week. People have been texting me. Was this the judgment of God? I want to be very clear tonight, tell you exactly what's going on. So these are the wildfires. California wildfires, 6 fires ravaged 60 square miles of land. That's twice the size of Manhattan. 150,000 people have been evacuated, more than 12,000 homes destroyed, and about 25 dead. And this is drawing a lot of controversy. This is the Golden Globes. In the Golden Globes, they mocked God at the Golden Globes Award in Hollywood just before these fires started. This MC talked about shout-outs when people were getting their awards, and she put it on a chart, and she said that there were 11 shout-outs for casts and crew. There were 3 shout-outs for moms. And then she added this: God, creator of the universe, 0 mention. Less than 24 hours later, Los Angeles was on fire. Now, people ask me, was this God's judgment? I'll get to that in a moment. It's really not a good policy to mock God. When the Titanic launched in 1912, a White Star Line officer said 24 hours before it launched this: the Titanic sinks on her maiden voyage. Even God himself couldn't sink this ship. It's really not good to mock God. The LA fires are not the judgment of God. Let me repeat that. They're not. What they are is they are God not doing something and letting man do what he's done. Man has created this. Man has stopped the reservoirs. Man has not filled the reservoirs up. Man, Gavin Newsom, has blown up four dams. Gavin Newsom has diverted water from the Canadian Rockies into the Pacific Ocean. to save a smelt. Let me just tell you something about smelts. As an Italian, we eat them every Christmas. I have them in my refrigerator. They're not endangered. It's man, the governor, that stopped $17.6 million going to the firefighters. You know how they saved the Reagan Library? They put goats around it 4 months ago, and they ate all the underbrush. This isn't God's judgment. This is God just letting man do what he thinks he wants to do. And so man reaps what he sows. They would rather put the billions into DEI or into hiring or the homeless and benefits for their illegals. This is why it happened. It's absolutely a shame. I was reading a statistic the other day when the Spaniards came and settled California. There were 400 million acres, 400 million that burned every year. 400 million acres. It's noted for it. The Santa Ana winds come in, it sparks that dryness, and there's fires every year. They know it's coming. Up until the 1990s, we cut that down to about 200,000 acres. And now today, we're back up to 400, almost 500,000 acres. Why? Because man's negligence, man taking care of his petty little leftist peeves, other than taking care of the citizens that pay exorbitant amounts of taxes. So if you're in California listening to us, we are praying for you. I hope that you weren't affected by it, but we are praying and believing for you. Let me give one last one. I think I have it up in here. It's the economy. There it is. Speaking of California fires, insurance company crisis is lurking. Fires and insurance companies. Total losses of the fires in California are estimated to total up to $150 billion. California made the executive decision to not allow insurance companies to raise their premiums last couple of years. So insurance companies like State Farm pulled out of the area, leaving a whole lot of people that do not have any insurance. So the remaining insurance companies will put in about $20 to $25 billion of the $150 billion bill, which means $125 to $130 billion will have to be paid by, guess who? You and me, the taxpayers. Is that fair to us? Is it fair for liberal politicians to take care of all their little pet things and leave these balances to us? I don't think so. I think what's happening in California is a shame. I think it's a shame. And I think, the sad part about it, and I'll be real fair about this, is Los Angeles and the counties that were affected are mostly blue. They voted for these people. Hopefully they'll understand that these people are not your friend. These people are not going to do anything to help you. Let me give you one last one tonight. February 28th, you want to go outside. It's going to be visible at night. It's going to be visible from every place on the planet. 7 planets will line up in a rare occasion in the night sky. They call it a great planetary alignment, but there's another word for it in the dictionary. It's called syzygy, Syzygy. It's a fairly rare occurrence. Saturn, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, Neptune will all line up and appear across the night sky. So again, people are texting me, asking me, is this a sign? Of course it's a sign. Whenever you see something rare astronomically, whenever you see something rare astronomically, we know there's signs there. The Bible says in Genesis that the stars are for signs, seasons, and times. So they asked me, what's going to happen? Well, that's the part we don't know. All we know is, and all we could do is look in retrospect to see what's going on. But we should be aware of that there are things happening. That's in the news for tonight. I'm trying to bring you to a spot where you can hear the things that are going on. I'll be bringing you a lot of things that are happening in the administration. I stayed away from it for a long time, but there's 100 executive orders that Trump is going to sign on day one. Our country is going to change overnight. And so I'll make sure that I bring you an updated understanding of all of that. I don't trust the news media any more than I can throw it across the room. So we'll definitely be giving you that.